Welcome to the video of our summer 2023 European road trip. We drive through France, Germany, Austria and Slovenia before spending a week in Porec, Croatia. We then head back to England via trips to Venice, Italy, Basel, Switzerland and Reims, France. We begin our journey with an early evening Le Shuttle crossing from Folkestone to Calais. On arrival in Calais, we drive the 109 miles to our first stop, Saint-Quentin, France. We booked 2 triple rooms which have a double bed with a single bunk bed, enough room for the 6 of us, and we were even allocated interconnecting rooms. This is basic accommodation but good for cheap overnight stops. We paid €120 for both rooms for one night. There is secure parking which is chargeable at about £6 a day. The height limit for the car park is 3 metres. We had a very large car with a roof box and had no problems getting in. It's not the biggest of car parks and there were only 2 free spaces. The check-in time is midday and the check-out time is the same. There is air conditioning and free Wi-Fi available. There is also a bar and breakfast is available from 4 AM at an additional cost. After checking in, we walked around the town a little before looking for somewhere to have dinner. We settled on the restaurant La Villa d'Isle. We were a bit reluctant to go in as the place was completely empty. However, they led us through the restaurant to a beautiful outside space with lots of greenery and pretty lights, and it had a really buzzy atmosphere. They didn't speak much English, but this wasn't really a problem. The food was good and we were glad we decided to go in. The next morning we had an early start for our 497-mile drive to our next stop in Munich. The traffic was really bad as the motorway was closed in some places, and this took us an extra 3 hours more than expected. We were therefore unable to go into Munich and explore as we had planned. We stayed in the Ibis budget Munich Putzbrunn. This time we had to split into 3 rooms as in Germany there is an age limit of 11 to use the single bunk. We booked 1 standard room and 2 twin rooms. These were €76 per room, so this stay cost us €228 for the night. This hotel has air conditioning and free Wi-Fi. There is also free parking with plenty of spaces and no height restrictions. There is an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet for €13.50 each. There is public transport close by to get to the city centre, which is just under a mile away. There is an Italian restaurant just a 5-minute walk from the hotel. San Daniele offers pizza and pasta dishes, and you can also get pizza to take away. We ate in and the food and service was very good. The next morning we continued our outbound journey, leaving Munich and navigating the 350-mile drive to Porec, Croatia. To drive in Austria you need to have a vignette. We purchased this at the services just before the Austrian border. We purchased a 1-day vignette which cost around €9. And we were given a sticker to put in the windscreen. You can buy these in advance online, which I would recommend as it can be stressful trying to find somewhere to stop and buy one, and the queues can get very long. We experienced long delays and traffic issues again, but there were some spectacular views driving through Austria to make up for it. We stopped at the services in Austria to get some lunch, and even this was a scenic spot. You will need to take some euros into the services to use the toilets. There is a contactless option for cards on the barrier, but our English debit cards wouldn't work. After lunch, we continued our journey and stopped just after the Slovenian border to purchase another vignette. This time we were given a digital one, so didn't have to put a sticker in the windscreen. You can also buy these online, which I would highly recommend as this was difficult to purchase due to the language barrier. A weekly vignette is €16. We had planned a stop in Lake Bled, Slovenia, but due to the delays we did not have time, so we drove straight to the campsite in Croatia. We had a premium mobile home with air conditioning, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms and a dishwasher. We spent our first day by the pool. Sun loungers here cost €15 per 2 sun loungers. So for the 6 of us, this was €45 per day. The pool was very crowded and noisy, so we spent the rest of the trip at the beach. The sun lounges at the beach are also charged at €15 per two people. The beach has very clear, calm waters. There is an obstacle course in the sea, but this is a chargeable extra. You can see fish here, so if you do have snorkel equipment, bring it with you. We tried the Oliva Grill for lunch one day and had a very nice meal. The accommodation had no oven, so we packed our pizza oven and brought it with us. It folds up very small and went in the roof box. We had a half-day trip to explore the harbour town of Porec. The town is only 8 miles from the campsite and there is good parking available. We spent time exploring the narrow cobbled streets and walking around the harbour, with a stop for some amazing flavours of ice cream to cool off. We also had a full day trip to Plitivce Lakes. This was a 3-hour drive from the campsite and we were there for 5 hours, so it was a very long day, but it was worth it because it's an amazing place to visit. There is a full video of our day trip to Plitivce available on our channel, so please check it out for more information. After our week in Croatia, we begin the journey home, starting with a 35-mile drive north across the Slovenian border to the Mediterranean walled town of Piran. This pretty harbour town, with its narrow cobbled streets and medieval architecture, make this a great place to stop and wander. Only residents are allowed vehicles in the town. You can park outside the town and walk into the centre. This is a fair amount of walking on fairly steep inclines, and I immediately regretted my choice of footwear. Comfortable walking shoes are definitely required. We reached the square and found a restaurant to sit down and get some lunch. Our food was good and English was widely spoken. After lunch, we explored the square and did a little souvenir shopping before the long walk back to the car. When we reached the car, it was time to continue our journey to our accommodation for the next 2 nights, driving another 127 miles and crossing the border into Italy. We booked a 3-bedroom mobile home at a campsite across the water from Venice. The accommodation is very basic and has no outside space, but it was only €300 for 2 nights plus a €10 parking fee. You are not guaranteed a parking space near your home. Luckily, we were able to park outside, but people can pitch wherever they find a space. There is a swimming pool which we use to cool off after a very long drive. There are plenty of sun lounges available, but you are required to wear swimming hats in the pool. There is an on-site restaurant, takeaway pizzeria and a grocery store. Just a short walk from the campsite is the ferry to Venice. Our return fare is €15 per person. We got up early the next morning and purchased our ferry tickets from the reception of the campsite. The ferry terminal is only a few minutes walk from here. The ferry crossing takes about 20 minutes. You disembark a little way out from all the main attractions, so be prepared for a lot of walking. It is, however, a very pretty walk through small streets and crossing little bridges. We spent the day taking in the sights, stopping for a lunch break in one of the many restaurants before taking a gondola ride. Gondolas can only seat 5, so we had to split into 2 boats. You need to pay cash for gondolas, so make sure you have plenty with you. The normal price of a 30-minute gondola ride is €80, but this can be more at night. We made our way back to get the 5:30 ferry. The queue was already quite long, but we managed to get on. We got a takeaway from the campsite pizzeria before getting an early night. The next morning, we began our journey travelling through northern Italy and Switzerland. We required a vignette to drive in Switzerland, and we were able to get one at the shop on the border. There were officials at the border checking vehicles had obtained one. You can purchase one online in advance. These are quite expensive at €68, as they are only available as an annual ticket. The views driving through Switzerland were amazing, and we found a place to stop for lunch that had really great views. We were staying at the Ibis Budget Basel City. We had to split into 3 rooms and the cost for our 2-night stay was £475. Our car with the roof box was too big to fit in the underground car park, so we had to take the roof box off, drive the car down into a space and reattach the roof box. When we came back up, they had closed the car park as it was full and people were waiting to check in, and they had to look for alternative parking a long way from the hotel. The height limit for the car park is 2.08 metres and it costs £17 per day. The hotel has air conditioning and free Wi-Fi, and you get free public transportation for the duration of your stay. We were quite tired at this point, so we ordered McDonald's delivery. We had 6 adult meals and this cost £100. Switzerland is very expensive. The next morning we walked to the tram stop across the street and took the next tram into town. Unfortunately for us, it was a Swiss bank holiday and almost everything was shut. We looked at City Hall from the outside and the small courtyard inside. We headed down to the River Rhine and got on a river cruise. We hadn't pre-booked this and we purchased our tickets on the boat. The weather was bad, so it was good to be inside and take in the scenery. We went through a few locks and enjoyed a nice lunch on board. There was the option to get off in Germany, but it was a long wait for a return boat and the weather was still bad, so we stayed on and went back to Basel to explore more of the city's top sites. After a long day out exploring, we returned to the hotel and ordered a Domino's delivery. We left Basel and drove to our next and final stop of the trip, Reims, France. We stayed in an Ibis Budget hotel. We had 2 triple rooms and paid €150 for the night. The hotel has air conditioning, free Wi-Fi and free parking with no height restrictions. We checked in, unpacked and walked to the steakhouse that is on the same site as the hotel. The restaurant offers good food and good drinks. We went back to the hotel ready for an early start the next morning. We checked out of the hotel and drove into Reims to explore the city. With its Gothic architecture, seeing the cathedral is a must. It's even free to enter. After a few hours of exploring, it was time to get back to the car to drive to Calais to catch our train back to Folkestone. This was an amazing road trip and we're glad we got to see so much of Europe. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to keep up to date with our content.